I need a drumstick, motherfucker.
You definitely don't need a drumstick, Fatso.
Whoa! 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 Oh my God, the roast! Wow! Holy shit! The free-to-play hero shooter Paladins put a Battle Royale mode in its game way back in January. However, it was later pulled out of that game to be put into its own game, Realm Royale, which is now available on Steam. Since Realm Royale's origins are in a hero shooter, this Battle Royale game has several interesting concepts that differentiate it from the plethora of other games of the same ilk. When you enter the starting lobby, you could pick from a selection of 5 classes: Warrior, Engineer, Assassin, Mage, and Hunter, all of which have different abilities, a passive ability, and a legendary class item. However, the armor, weapons, and potions that you could pick up around the map can be used in any class, just like in traditional Battle Royale style. The same goes for the poisonous fog that rolls in circular fashion in the normal, non-respawn, winner-take-all approach. There it is! Crown Royale, peeps! Before breaking down the 5 classes further, let's talk about the flow of the game. You start the game with 1200 health, 0 armor, a dagger as a weapon, and a specific movement ability for your class. Littered around the map are 3 different kinds of chests. One that contains class abilities, armor, or weapons, a potion chest that contains either armor or health potions, and lastly, a weapon crate that has better rarity weapons than the standard crate offers. For weapons, there's a sword, pistols, shotguns, crossbow, and rifles, each of which have 4 different rarities: common, rare, epic, and legendary, as damage increases as you go higher in rarity. You can carry 2 weapons at a time, so I usually pick 1 close and 1 mid to long range item. You can't go above the 1200 health that you start with, but you can increase your armor level by finding helmets, chest plates, gauntlets, and boots in the same rarities that I described earlier. The more rare the item, the higher armor it grants. 50 for common, 100 for rare, 200 for epic, and 300 for legendary. Thus, if you have all legendary armor, you'll have 1200 total. Quick maths. Obviously, armor potions refill armor, and health potions refill health. Each class has 4 possible abilities, but you can only have 2 on your character at a time. Thus, you can create different builds based on your playstyle and what you actually find on the map, since you don't start with any of these class abilities, just the movement ability. The different character builds definitely adds a layer of tailoring that previous Battle Royale games don't really have. There's also this concept called forging, whereby you can craft legendary armor, abilities, or the class-specific weapon. Any item can be broken down for shards, which is the currency that you need in order to craft the items, but before you do so, take a look at the HUD on the left-hand side, which has the entire loadout of your teammates to ensure that somebody doesn't need it, or else they'll probably be pissed off.
Oh. I sharded that shit real fast.
No, dude! No! Come on, man! You fucking cocksucker, bro! Those shards can be taken to certain areas of the map called a forge, and you could craft some items based on your shard count. However, when the forge is active, that means when somebody's crafting something, there is smoke that billows out of the top of the chimney of the building, so it's visible for miles, as well as taking upwards of 60 seconds to craft an item, so it's probably best not to stand in the middle of the building while you're waiting for your shit. I really like this concept, as it forces people to take the risk of being confined to a somewhat small area for a period of time, along with having a giant kick-me sign in the form of smoke for this higher reward of sick items. Other than forging, you could also get legendary items from an airdrop crate, which does show up on the minimap, so again, a risk-reward scenario whereby the crate can eventually become bait. Hey, that rhymed. Okay, so now finally we can break down the classes, which really make this game stand out from the sea of other Battle Royale games. The Warrior class is a passive ability of gaining 5 health per second, the Heroic Leap as the movement ability that acts as an arc where you jump forward and upward, and a Throwing Axe is the legendary class item that you can't throw all that far, but the Warrior class is designed for getting up close and personal into battle. The 4 class abilities are the Charge, which is kind of like a Halo Spartan dash forward so that you could deal damage while doing it, a Healing Shot that restores health to a teammate, a shielding shot that restores armor to a teammate, and a net that reduces your target speed. So you can see that using the charge and leap combined with the throwing axe and having the ability to slow down an enemy can make for easy kills. The next class is the engineer. It has a passive ability of 5 armor gain per second with an upward thrust movement to go directly upwards into the air to spot enemies at a distance or to get up on roofs like we're playing Advanced Warfare, as well as a plasma launcher that's got splash damage as the class weapon. The abilities are a deployable barricade like the Titanfall 2 AWOL or Reinhardt Shield where people can shoot out of it but you can't shoot into it, the turret that you can deploy two of, kind of like Torb in Overwatch, a firebomb which is like a Molotov cocktail in World War II, and the healing totem which will heal friendlies within a radius, kind of like Galena in Quake Champions. This is my go-to class at the moment since it has defensive abilities to keep the fight going for as long as possible, along with a really powerful and easy to use class weapon. The Assassin has a passive ability of 10% increased ground speed, a movement ability of a blink which is kind of teleporting you forward, and a hero weapon of a sniper rifle which seems contradictory with the rest of the class capabilities, which make it seem like this is supposed to be a really fast up close class, yet it's got a long range class weapon. Anyways, the class abilities are a concussion bomb that knocks enemies back, a sensor drone that reveals enemy locations, kind of like Widowmaker's super, a smoke screen which grants brief invisibility and blocks enemy vision, and the Ghost Walk, which makes you walk faster and be invincible, so sneak around with this class and get the fuck out of dodge when a bad situation arises. The Mage has a passive ability of 30% potion effectiveness increase, a movement ability of flying horizontally forwards and backwards, and a Stone Spear as the class weapon which does 3 projectiles at a time. The class abilities include a melee-like wall that blocks movement and shots, an ice block that is also melee-like where you're immune to damage but can't move, an explosive flask that slows enemies similar to the warrior's net, and a fireball that is a projectile that passes through enemies, so line up those buy one get one free collaterals, people. To me, this is the worst class in the game, since the passive ability of potions depends completely on RNG in the chest, and the weapon is by far and away the worst, along with sharing some abilities with other classes and having an immunity ability, try saying that 5 times fast, that makes you immobile. Lastly is the Hunter, which has a passive ability of 10% weapon swap and reload speed increase, a movement ability of a dodge roll in the direction that you're facing, and the Longbow as the class weapon, which has a 2-second drawback for maximum damage, or you can fire it at any time for a reduced amount of damage, as this was nerfed in the most recent patch to have a longer drawback. Class abilities are a Blast Shot, which is a thrown lethal explosive, a Proximity Mine, which is similar but a set and forget type of explosion when enemies are nearby, a Flare that reveals the enemies within the radius similar to the sensor drone, and Withdraw that makes you leap backwards and become invisible for a short period of time. If you're a good shot, the Hunter class is definitely for you, as the Longbow is way better than the Assassin Sniper Rifle for all ranges, since it could even work in close quarters combat. As you can see, there's a lot of depth and replayability with this class system, and it also encourages teamwork within the squad in a way that other Battle Royale games don't lend itself to doing with the different abilities on each class. If you have a composition where one player can be the healer and defense person, the other 3 can take offensive abilities and not have to worry about the trade-offs because they're being compensated for in other aspects with the player that has the healing and defense. Oh, fuck your turret, bitch. Get back here, you little chicken. No, you fucking chicken cunt! Another twist in the standard Battle Royale concept is what happens when you run out of health. Instead of going into the usual down but not out state, you turn into a chicken that has 700 health and a timer of 30 seconds. You can't fight back in this chicken state, but you can certainly run and jump the fuck away. Once those 30 seconds are up, you're instantly revived with 50% health and 0% armor without having to be manually revived by a teammate who is completely useless during that revive period like in other games. In addition, you only have 3 quote-unquote lives, whereby if you turn into a chicken for the 4th time, that's enough Jigglypuff for you and you're dead for good. To encourage actual killing of chickens, you can only craft your class legendary item if you have a chicken trophy, which you get from taking out enemy birds, so even PETA would approve of this strat. If you are the chicken, get as far away from your enemies as possible, as they can hear you clucking even if you're not in their line of sight, so that'll alert them to know that someone is tasty, I mean nearby. I'm hoping to draw him out, maybe. Woo! Behind me, Coots! Behind us!
Me! I got him.
Nice.
That looks so boring, dude.
Just made the weirdest noises.
Oh, there's another guy to the left!
There's someone on me!
Help! Oh, Coots with the longbow! The ability to mount on a horse to traverse through the map means you're really never out of the fight, and it doesn't feel like the Fortnite or PUBG running simulator during the mid-game. I really like some of these design decisions to keep the Battle Royale mode feeling fresh, and having to make conscious decisions about the character build and the risk-reward of forging. The only real negative about this game for me is the gunfights. They're quite cumbersome and they feel a bit off. Sometimes it's a real rock, paper, scissors situation where you run into characters that have builds that are suited for certain styles of play that count counter whatever you're equipped with currently. However, there are others where it's best to just run in and melee the shit out of people because of how clunky some of the ranged weapons are. Where this game shines is the classes and abilities, but the actual gunplay leaves something to be desired. The weapons actually do lots more damage than the offensive class abilities do, since most are tactical rather than lethal in nature, but having only semi-auto, single-shot weapons in the game means that mobility trumps aiming in most cases. The gunfights take a backseat to the movement and class abilities in the way that battles play out, and I think it should be the other way around, with the weapons as the foundation for the fights, with the class abilities dictating how aggressive or defensive the battle becomes. I think it was a really good idea to separate out the Battle Royale mode from the Paladins base game and spin it off as Realm Royale, since that single-life RNG loot-based game mode is quite a contrast from the team-based hero shooter PTFO multiple respawn where RNG is eliminated in favor of skill. It takes the Battle Royale mode concept and makes it its own thing with classes and crafting, although there has been crafting in other Battle Royale games like in H1Z1, but it's done in a way that forces action in a sense of risk-reward. Right now it's only available for PC, but console versions will be coming soon at some point in the future. Have you guys played the game, and if so, what do you think of it? I've been Schwantz27, out like the US in the World Cup. Until next time. Bing, ding, 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 ding.
Dennis ready.
Yep. Oh no! Crash log! Too much dinging at one time! Provide a summary of this crash. Map. Please describe in detail what you're doing when the crash
I
occurred.
was trying to ping where I wanted to go, bro.
Spawning.
Zing on map.